all of you fam. I call you fam because if you're a follower of the show, you're part of our family. I want to introduce you to some work that I've been doing with Spirit over the years, and I've come to call that Master Freedom Code. This is Xavier. He was one of my first people that I started doing this work with, and I figured it would be perfect to have him as our first session that we put up for others to view. We've done sessions in front of groups, and usually people in the groups feel uplifted and feel edified, feel even to a point healed of certain things by viewing the session. So we're going to do this a bit more.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am
Living God's light.
Xavier,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. And yourself?
Doing good, man. How's life?
Life has been really interesting, to say the least.
As life is, right? Life is a constant adventure for most of us. I am excited about today. Today is our first inaugural publicized session with Master Freedom Code. And this is something that is new to the world. Most of the world doesn't know about this, but it's something that you and I are familiar with. You're one of my, I would say, first clients, one of the first clients that I was doing it with besides myself. So I was doing it by myself for a long time, and I would utilize it in very small ways. But with you, it's like it was landing so well, and not just with you, but like you were very invested in it as well. So here we go. This is the first inaugural session recorded for Living God's Light. Tell me, from your experience, from your perception, from your view, what has it been like to do Master Code? How has that affected you, changed you, uplifted you, let you down? Like, how has it affected you?
Well, the very first time that we used this technique, I didn't realize that I was going through something, and you picked up on it, and we used it to remove something that was happening in my life, and I didn't realize that it was happening in my life. Like I was blind to it. I was going through life and just thinking that certain things that were happening were normal, and they weren't normal. And they by using this technique, you removed it, and I was just so impressed because I didn't realize that I was living life in a way that wasn't aligned to me being the best version of myself.
Mhm.
And so it was almost like I was wearing these blinders. And so that was really impressive to see that work. I mean,
Well,
the impact was I mean, it was instant,
yeah, like
and
right away.
like right away. And so that was really interesting. And and yeah, I mean, I think there's certain times in our life where we're ready to shed maybe
Hmm.
old belief systems or old energies, old maybe neural pathways, if you will. And sometimes we don't know how to let those things go.
Yeah.
And by going through this exercise, Master Freedom Code, it absolutely helped me to release that. And in fact, I even used it on a client of mine, and he started crying during the session. And then I met up with him virtually like a month later, and he just looked different, and he was in awe with like how his life had changed. And so there's a lot of power in this. This is actually one of the first exercises because we used it a couple of times. The second time that we used it, I remember just feeling all of this like heat on my feet, in my hands. And the last time I had experienced that was when I was doing I don't know if it was the Wim Hof breathing exercise that I had gone to a workshop, but just by going through the Master Freedom Code, like it actually started to create physical changes in my body, which I thought was
Hmm.
really interesting. So
I,
there's a lot to be said there.
yeah, I've used it on my own body and watched my body change and continue to change in positive ways. I didn't realize that I had picked up so much bad programming from my genealogy, from my own parents. We sometimes pick up a lot of trapped emotions from our moms and our dads. And sometimes those things show up in our lives and we think, oh, that's just normal, but it's not normal. It's something that we can have more power over. To me, the Master Freedom Code is allowing us to be the master of our own dominion, to be the master of our own world, our own experience. And that includes maybe somewhere where we've self-sabotaged in the past. We don't have to do that anymore. It's quite common for most humans to say, I want this, and then to sabotage this with that, right? Like very, very common. And if anything, I would say that's the number one thing you can at least bring an awareness to is where you're sabotaging yourself, how you're sabotaging yourself, and maybe genetically how it was like born into you to sabotage yourself. So, the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing, but expecting a different outcome. That's where I love Master Freedom Code because it gives you an option, it gives you a pathway to shift your patterns, the negative ones, and to amplify the positive ones. Um, what was your favorite takeaway from one of our sessions? Because we've had how many sessions do you think we've had? Probably, I'd say more than 10, right?
We've had a lot.
Yeah. Um, what do you think your favorite takeaway was from any of them? What was a big takeaway for you?
Well, I think it's fascinating that certain questions will make you think about certain objects or thoughts or feelings, and within those objects and thoughts and feelings, we find energy, we find
Hmm.
code, and when that code comes out, we're able to essentially hold it in our hands and then make a decision about what we want to do with it. And that for me is very powerful. And I think it's fascinating that somebody doing this for the very first time may not realize that that is what's happening when we're being asked a question in a certain thought, an object, something pops up into our head, how there is energy or code that is essentially coming forth, and you can do something with it. If it serves you, you can choose to maybe make it stronger, and if it doesn't serve you, you can choose to let it go.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was the most fascinating aspect of going through this process.
Well, Javier, tell our audience about who you are, what you do, and why this was an interest to you in the beginning.
So my name is Javier Cano. I am a leadership coach, a mindset mastery consultant. I'm an international speaker. I spent 18 years in corporate America, and I was guided to become full time as a coach and as a speaker. And I was scared at first because I had the luxury of having an engineering degree and an MBA, but I knew that my path was taking me to a different place. And by being able to participate in these sessions, it not only allowed me to become a stronger coach and a more impactful speaker, but it also allowed me to use the same techniques to help my clients become better versions of themselves as well.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And you live in Austin, right?
And
Did you already say that?
I'm here in
Austin,
Austin,
Texas.
Austin,
Yeah.
Texas.
Well, right now, if you were to, wave a magic wand over your world, over your life, what's something that could go better for you or be easier for you, or you could find more success in?
Can we talk about health
Absolutely.
issues? Okay.
Yeah.
So the one thing that's definitely coming through for me right now, very, very strongly, is something tied to my health and specifically to some issues that I've had with my feet. In 2015, I believe it was the very first time that I was diagnosed with gout. And that's where you have a lot of uric acid that builds up in your body, and it can form these microscopic, I guess, uric acid crystals in the joints of your feet,
Hmm.
specifically like your big toe, and it's excruciatingly painful. And it's something that I've kind of dealt with since 2015, but it definitely has gotten worse this year. This year has been very stressful for me, going through some pretty big life changes. And so I've noticed that this year I've had a lot of issues being able to walk.
Okay.
And so I've been taking a lot of medications. Um, and I feel that a lot of this is tied to code.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to release this.
Awesome. Now, I always like to preface, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. If we can do anything to help make things better, awesome. And if you're ever in an emergency, call 911 or depending on what continent you're on, seek out that medical professional. What's neat about something like this is something long suffering, and there's less dire urgency to tackle it, right? Because the traditional system hasn't brought you the answers that you needed. So this is a perfect target for mastery. Now,
Absolutely.
is it your right foot more than your left foot?
I would say it's my right foot more. I mean, I do get it on both. I do get it on both. But lately, I would say that definitely my right foot has been experiencing it.
Okay. Yeah, I could feel on the right side, that's where it was heavy. Um, and that makes sense too. The way our body works, we store on the right side. That's our masculine. That's also our side that steps into the future. Whereas our feminine, which would be our left side, our more creative side, essentially. We tend to learn from the present, learn from the past on the left, and we store all sorts of fears for the future on our right side. So, perfect. Well, let's go at this baby.
Let's
And
do it.
to do a little explanation of how someone does master code, I'll give you an inside look at my position where, I've been through hundreds of sessions. And for me to access the right information, I need to truly feel love for who I'm working with. And if I can uh, unconditionally feel love for that individual, then I'm accessing some quantum field, some field of intelligence that gives answers that maybe don't make the most sense, but when you follow that nugget, you follow that tendril, it leads you to a solution. So that's where it all begins is I tell myself that I'm sharing heartbeats with you. I'm sharing time with you, and I want to feel love for you. It's in that love that we get access to your answers, your solutions. Right.
I love that.
So now on the surface, the target would be just gout. And there may be legitimately things just in the name gout itself. When you were a kid growing up, did you hear gout ever around
No,
you?
no.
Okay. So where it's not something that you were traditioned with or brought up with, it would be a modern name given to a symptom that's showing up in your body, but it's an umbrella symptom, an umbrella term. There's a lot of symptoms that in a lot of different places in your body that get to be classified as gout. So let's start there. Let's start there. We will set the intention for the greatest good, the healthiest outcome, and have us both close our eyes, take a big, deep breath. We invite divinity into our session today. And then Javier, I'll have you keep your eyes closed and tell me the first image, the first word, the first anything that comes to your mind when I say gout.
Orange.
Gout. What comes up now?
I'm seeing like a maroon cube, like a dice, that's not a dice, but like just that shape, maroon
Okay. Gout.
squares.
What comes up now?
I'm seeing these like wavy lines. These wavy lines.
Gout. What comes up now?
Heard the word green.
Gout. What comes up now?
Heard the word ice.
Gout. What comes up now?
Heard the word yellow.
Gout. What comes up now?
Heard the word princess.
Gout. What comes up now?
I'm seeing like these black stones.
Gout. What comes up now?
A grill.
A girl. GIRL.
Grill, like
Grill.
grilling food.
Gout. What comes up now?
Playground.
Gout. What comes up now?
Garden.
Gout. What comes up now?
Sky.
Gout. What comes up now?
Angel.
Gout. What comes up now?
Mushroom. Ceremony.
Gout. What comes up now?
It's a vision of me participating in a mushroom ceremony where I actually asked, why is this happening to me?
Gout. What comes up now?
That's actually it.
Okay.
I guess people can't see, but there's like tears coming out of my eyes.
So what this is you just told us a story. Now, prior to today, uh, gout pain in your feet, especially that right foot, 0 to 10, what has it been at regularly for you? 10 being the
Well,
worst, 0 being none.
sure. And it usually depends like when there's a flare. It's almost like there's either a flare or there isn't. And so if there isn't, it's 0. But if there is, then it becomes as strong as like an 8.
An 8. Okay. So
Yeah.
pretty bad. Like
Yeah.
borderline, go to the hospital, get treatment, something
Well,
like that, right?
the interesting thing is that I used to do that, but now I've learned how to take care of it on my own, where I have the medication here. I have a boot that I put on.
Mhm.
And so I no longer have to go to the hospital the way I used to. Um, wow, like all these tears coming out of my eyes.
So
And
what's neat is these tears were tears you haven't allowed yourself to have. So, in the process of pursuing healing of the gout, and let me state it the right way, in pursuit of releasing the frequency of gout in your body, it's to allow some release from your life, especially childhood. Now, each word essentially lines up with a year of your life. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we had 16 layers. That means that there was 16 layers built into your gout or your programming of the gout. So let's take a look at that. There's a story here. Even though
I know what it
yeah.
is.
So tell me about the story. What's the story that's coming to mind?
So what clearly came through, and it really surprised me because again, I didn't start getting gout until I was like 35, but yet I was brought back to a moment when I would say around like third grade, second grade, third grade,
Okay.
and I remember that my neighbor had a Nintendo, and we would go to her house and we would play Nintendo, and my brother and I, my twin brother and I, we wanted a Nintendo. We didn't want to only have the opportunity to play Mario Brothers when our neighbor was available, right? We wanted to be able to have that opportunity, and so our opportunity to be able to play Nintendo was very much delayed. In other words, I think when most kids may have had a Nintendo maybe maybe a year and a half before we finally had an opportunity to experience that for ourselves. And so we got a Nintendo, but we had to play Nintendo on a black and white TV. And so now,
Mm,
even though we had the Nintendo, we couldn't fully enjoy the entire experience of being able to play it in color. That's what came through. That
mm.
is what came through. And so I can definitely see the princess. That's the princess in the Mario Brothers. That
Yeah.
little cube is that little thing that the Marbars punch to
Yeah.
release coins or other
That's the
things.
black cube. That's the black stones. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like the black stones you were seeing Mario. Now, to the outside perspective, they're like, "What? You're storing Mario Brothers in your body?" No. It's the whole scenario leading up to it. And what was the programming that you were allowing in your mind why you weren't worth getting the Nintendo as a kid? And that's where this is all there. What's interesting though is the grill. Where do you feel you were grilled in
Well,
all this?
here's what's interesting. What I started to see was my backyard, and in the backyard there was a grill, there was a playground, there was a garden, and so essentially it just brought me back to that time period in my life where you know what's funny. What's coming through is that oh, this is interesting. What's coming through right now? Like I almost wonder if my dad did this on purpose so that he can get us to play outside more instead of being in front of a TV.
Yeah.
And so I think and this is all coming to me right now. So I think what may have happened is I developed this belief that maybe I wasn't enough or I couldn't have what I want or there was this delay gratification, but instead maybe it was done on purpose so that just to be able to play outside. And the grill is very much tied to my dad.
Hmm.
And the garden is very much tied to my dad because he initiated the garden. He's the one who grilled. And so now I'm just wondering, well,
So here's the interesting correlation. You've got gout primarily on the right side, the masculine, um, regarding a masculine event, meaning dad's grilling, dad's outside behavior, right? In the garden where you can look up at the sky. What's also interesting to me is the three colors that came through orange. Orange would be the orange meridian.
I
That's
think it
your,
was yellow. I think it was yellow.
well, so first was orange, then
Oh,
was
okay, okay. Oh,
green,
oh,
then
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
yellow.
yeah.
So what's interesting though, so orange is essentially your sacral. that is your creation space. So you wanted to create by going and playing Mario Brothers or being a kid playing, right? And your heart was involved. That's the green. So the green meridian, your heart meridian is the green. So your heart was in it. And then it was the yellow. So the yellow is the solar plexus. That's where the sacral meets the heart, is in the yellow. And to you, you wanted to go play Princess Peach, man. You wanted to you wanted to go save the princess in Mario Brothers. But that's where the black stones. So the version you got was the black and white version. So you're bumping your head against the black stones. This isn't going to make sense to everybody, but here's the neat thing about your code. Inside you, there's an 8-year-old. 8-year-old. And why I say 8-year-old is as you were going through each layer, when you said the princess, bam, that's where I felt a plateau. So that's who is suffering inside you, is the 8-year-old.
Yeah.
What I love is the 8-year-old inside you is waiting for us to say what we're going to say today. And that is just the same words back to you in reverse order. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do the first ever recorded Master Freedom Code. And that is the words that came to you intuitively, read back to you in reverse order as an approval to the 8-year-old, saying that your feelings are viable, your experience is important, and we can let that go now. Okay. Can you feel the power just behind that? That seems.
I do. I feel like something in my, I don't know if this is my liver or my right side or my
Well,
stomach area.
liver is where we carry pain and sometimes anger.
Yeah. I definitely feel something there, and definitely feeling myself getting emotional
Okay.
again.
So let's have you close your eyes. Take a big, deep breath. I'm going to read back to you your own words in reverse. Javier, your master code to release you of the symptoms, the issues of gout, or the trapped emotions of gout is me in ceremony, mushroom ceremony, angel, sky, garden, playground, grill, black stones, princess, yellow, ice, green, wavy lines, square, maroon cube, orange, and release. Take a big deep breath. Take another big deep breath. Now, in due diligence, I always add to this. Let's visualize some light in your feet, okay? Especially in your right foot. I want you to visualize light and love. Love from your dad. Love from divinity. And while you're seeing that love inside your foot, I want you to say out loud, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I am love.
I am love.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
Take a big deep breath in that. Tell us how you're feeling, man. What's going through your emotions, through your mind? I can feel like borderline an entire life of emotions flowing from you on this.
So, yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. So many layers, but one of the biggest things that's going through my head is that, at that moment in my life, like, I just thought, like, wow, like, why can't, like, we just have an experience like everybody else? Like, why can't, we enjoy this Nintendo and experience it, in the way that's supposed to experience it? Why are we being limited? And just like through this experience, like, I'm just trying to realize that, like, this was actually done on purpose by my dad to, he didn't want us playing Nintendo. He wanted us to get out of the house. He wanted us to go outside. He wanted us to go run around. He wanted us to, in other words, he didn't want us to limit our capabilities to simply staying in front of a screen. And I didn't realize that until just now. And so, but it makes a difference because, I mean, for me, like, it definitely did cause emotions, or it definitely created decisions in my mind early as a child that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't enough to, I wasn't deserving of having these experiences that other kids could have.
Mhm.
It's almost like we were never, like, my parents made enough money not to be in the lowest social economic status, but yet we weren't rich, but yet I felt like we had to be forced to live a life of being poor. And well, I realized that there was a lesson here from my dad, that had nothing to do with being poor or being part of a lower social economic level. It simply was based on him wanting us to go outside.
Yeah. He wanted you to have the childhood he had. He saw this distraction of the Nintendo that you guys couldn't get enough of, and it scared him. It actually scared him because you and your brother, they neither of you had shown interest like that on anything he had brought. You guys weren't that way about weeding or gardening or grilling or doing outdoor stuff, but he also could feel the unbalanced energy of it. So he was trying to protect you.
Yeah,
And as a father, you understand that. As a dad, you understand that.
yeah,
But speaking with your spirit team, I can feel this was an important lesson for you as a kid, though, because you promised yourself, you're like, when I want a Nintendo, I'm going to get it. You vowed to correct what you thought the problem was. And your perception as a child was that the problem was poverty, not choices.
yeah,
But if dad really wanted you to have a Nintendo, you would have had one. That's why you
yeah,
eventually got one, right? But it
yeah,
was because of your persistence, though, you and your brother's persistence.
yeah,
I can feel in all of this, though, there is this mending. Because notice when I read your code back to you, it was yellow, ice, green. So it was your desire. So the sacral and the solar plexus, the way that they work together is sacral is where we create things. It's also our sexual energy. That energy is strong in you, but you felt like you had to ice it through your heart because no one was buying you a Nintendo. But what's
yeah,
really beautiful to this is your body, your soul was ready for a release of all this now.
yeah,
It was time to melt that iciness between the heart and the sacral, which is the solar plexus. Yeah.
the other piece that also touched me, um, and you know this, the audience doesn't know this, but a guardian angel did present itself to me in 2017, and I have felt its guidance ever, ever since. And I participated in a mushroom ceremony a couple of weeks ago, and while under the the power of that mushroom, I looked at the sky and at the moon, and I was just talking to my guardian angel and asking, why did you make why am I going through this? Why are you causing me to go through all this? And what was fascinating is I didn't even think about that until you read it back to me and you said angel and sky. And that's exactly what I was doing at the mushroom ceremony. I was looking at the sky and it was a full moon and it was beautiful and there were clouds. And as I looked at the sky, I asked very clearly, or I was angry at my guardian angel, and I said, why did you bring me on earth to experience this much physical pain? And the fact that I said sky and angel was just, I mean, it was very special to me as well
And
because
confirmation to that. Yeah.
yeah, that was the answer to the question I was asking.
What I love is sometimes in the pursuit of healing ourselves and having health in our bodies, we're able to help heal the soul. And growing up as a kid, sometimes we package our life as some type of hardship story or drama. But when we're able to reflect back with the right eyes, we're able to see that everything was set up for our success. In reflection, you can see that there is a divine organization to all of this, and that at some level that our souls wanted all of this. And so we can either wake up every day thinking, wow, I'm excited to be alive, or we can wake up every day thinking, wow, I'm alive another day, dang it. you know.
Yeah.
What I love though is in the work that you do, you help others get to the next level, find meaning and pursue meaning in their life. And how this is really important for you to not have this Nintendo issue.
And what's interesting, that it was for me, it was more the fact that it had to be in black and white. I think that's the part
Yeah.
that really affected me the most. And it's like now you have a Nintendo, but now you have to have it. So it's almost like me, like now I have my own business now, which is something that I've always wanted, something I always dreamed of having. I was able to do that at age 42, but now I have issues with my foot. I can't walk, right? And
Yeah.
so it's this thing of, okay, you finally get to have what you wanted, but now you have to experience this. And so now it's almost like the code is essentially saying that that's not the way things work.
Yeah.
So you have a Nintendo and you get to experience this as well as part of the lessons you'll learn as part of this journey.
And here's what's also interesting too is if somehow you could get in your little kid head, your child head, and say, you know what, don't get hung up on black and white because you're going to have so much color in the rest of your life, right? And also, it's going to make it less addictive to keep you in the black and white version of Nintendo versus the color.
One thing that I think is beautiful is that because of what my dad did, I did go outside. I did ride my bike. My neighbors, my neighbor and my brother and I and other friends, we let our imagination run wild, and we created stories in our head and adventures, and we went around and which is something that you can never get from a Nintendo.
No.
Um, and so at least I can say that, perhaps I may have been limited using a Nintendo in front of a black and white TV, but at least through living life, I actually had a chance to see life in color.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
profound.
yeah. And what's really cool is I actually had a chance to talk to one of my neighbor who was in second grade at the time. I had a chance to talk to her about 30 days ago, about a month ago, and we talked about it, which is really cool.
What's cool too is if you snapshot yourself back then, you would call that neighbor a princess, and that's the life you wanted. Fast forward to where she is today. Do you think she feels the success that she wants in her life? just from your outside perspective?
Well, the exact answer is that she reached out to me because she wants me to help her improve the success in her life.
So isn't that neat that here is a creator saying what you think was so great as a child, that child as a woman is now reaching out to you for help.
Yeah. So that's pretty, yeah.
That's awesome.
And she was a princess for Halloween. I remember. Yeah.
Well, here's what's crazy. Just yesterday, Andrea, my wife, she got her Halloween costume because every year as teachers they do a thing, right? Well, this year was Mario Brothers, so she's gonna go as Princess
Oh, wow.
Peach. So this goes multi-layered, and this
Yeah, it
is
does.
this is how God works. Also, I want to note what time did we start this session? Because we had some technical difficulties. What time did we start?
For me, it was 1:11 p.m. Central.
And it was 11:11 Pacific, me.
Yeah.
So, God definitely has a sense of humor. The fact that you were sitting there playing a black and white Nintendo and we're able to be here talking about it, but not in a ridicule way, but in a loving way, in a way where we're allowing that 8-year-old self to heal.
Yeah.
Because it was the 8-year-old inside you saying, I must not be worth a full color Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little did you know, people were throwing away TVs that were color you could have gotten, right?
I know.
So I love this part of healing, that when we unpack our stories and we find out the root cause of a story, we can see all sorts of changes happen in our bodies, in our experience, and how we process life. So I'm excited to see where the gout goes for you, and to see the acceleration in your own Nintendo work. Your work
In my own reality.
in your own reality, yeah, in your own matrix of reality. Well, Javier, thank you for number one, thank you for being willing to share this. We're going to be doing this. I'm going to shoot to do this once a month if possible. But thank you for being the first to share Master Freedom Code in a session with the world.
Thank you so much for introducing me to this technique, for your gifts. They've been life-changing.
Well, what I love is I've always said God is a way better recruiter than I am. And sometimes it takes me waking up from a dream to realize, hey, who I've been trying to recruit for you is already there. And you've been working with them for a long time. So I'm grateful for you too. So very grateful. Yeah.
Thank you. Same.
Well, awesome. With that will be the end of our first session of Master Code work. Now from here, if you were to give advice to someone that just had Master Code done with them, what would you recommend they do for the next 24 or 48 hours? Because I know sometimes when we get done, it's like earth shattering. It changes everything for you. So what would be your recommendation to someone who is going through their first session of Master Code?
Take the time to breathe, drink plenty of water. If you have the need to journal. If you have the need to talk to somebody who may have been part of the story that you released, talk to them, have that conversation. But if anything, also give yourself grace. Give yourself grace because when you're younger, we don't necessarily see the life the way that we may see it now. And now that we can see it from a different perspective, a more mature perspective, we start to see different things. And so give yourself the time to just think through it.
Yeah.
Allow those neural pathways to reset themselves and build new ones that represent more of your actual truth. Yeah, just give yourself some time.
What I love too is when we first started working together, I don't think you classified yourself as a visual person, like seeing visions or having a lot of, but yet when you wanted to create something, you could visualize that, right? But when it came to intuition vision, I feel like you didn't classify yourself as like this guru or great visionary when it came to intuition. But yet each time we were pinging you with gout, something was showing up. It was your ability to accept what was showing up and not trying to figure it out that allowed it to continue to show up. I did a session yesterday where I was warned 3 times, I don't see anything, I never see anything. And at the end of an hour of master code with her, we had a huge long list. And I told her, I think what I might have said to you the first time is, wow, you sure saw a lot of things for not seeing things. And that's
Yeah.
what's really neat about healing is those words, those images, those perceptions are there as we put our attention towards that goal of healing.
I agree 100%. I think saying your intention to, hey, and being open to it.
Yes.
Because, if you try to regurgitate these images by using your mind in general and thinking about it logically, it won't work.
Yeah, it won't work. Yeah.
You have to allow it just to flow through, and what comes up, that's what it is. Trust it. Trust the process.
We
and
kind
allow
of
it
have
flow.
we have to invite the kids to the playground. That's
Yeah.
what Master Code does. It invites the kid to the playground where imagination works and where healing happens.
Exactly.
I'd be hard pressed to check in with you to see where we're at with the right foot, especially. But I have a feeling that part of this past programming, there may be even an underlying tone that, yeah, when things are good, they still need to be bad.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Because this plays to that, right? You finally
Yeah.
get the Nintendo and oh, great, it's black and white,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
it's almost like you're focusing on it being in black and white also kept it from being taken from you too.
Yeah. So there's a lot to think about through this one here.
Yeah. I love it because it gets the wheel moving. It gets the ball moving in motion for healing what is there in that body. Yeah. Well, again, Javier, you're a rock star, brother. Thanks for doing this with us today. And
Thanks,
yeah, we look forward to maybe seeing one of these a month with people. So
yeah, I will have to see that.
Okay. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for expanding your light today. If you want to find more information, get connected to our community, or simply contribute, see our website at livinggodslight.org. As always, please subscribe.